Good morning, class. This is Decker House. I'm doing my informative brief revision on the topic of outnumbered, not outmatched. Essentially, how to defeat a larger force. So, I want you guys to imagine you're staring at an enemy twice your size. They're bigger, stronger, and better equipped. Most people would retreat, but today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to fight. So, using Napoleon Bonaparte's cut the arm tactic, time and time again he came out on top. How? He didn't rely on brute strength, he relied on strategy. I believe that this provides timeless lessons for overcoming seemingly unbeatable odds, whether in battle, business, or life. My approach has three main strategies. First being divide and conquer. We have to understand the core of this strategy. So, at the heart of Napoleon's approach was surgical precision. Instead of attacking the enemy head on, he isolated a vulnerable segment of their force, cutting the arm off, so to speak, and hit hard and fast before the rest of the army could respond. According to historian David Chandler, in the campaigns of Napoleon, he believed that victory belonged not to the biggest army, but to the most flexible. He knew that by dividing the enemy's forces, cutting off their communications or supply lines, he could reduce their strength before even drawing a sword. An example of this would be the Battle of Ulm in 1805, where Napoleon faced an Austrian force of 70,000 troops, which was a lot more than he had. And instead of engaging directly, he essentially encircled the forces that were held up at the city of Ulm, cut off their reinforcements, and forced a surrender without a major battle. He essentially disarmed the enemy by separating them from their main force. So yeah, that's the first tactic in defeating a larger enemy. You want to divide them and conquer. So essentially identifying where their weak link is. Once you've identified their weak link, then you want to hit fast and hard. Create chaos and confusion. Once the enemy is divided, do not wait. Strike immediately using speed and aggression to overwhelm your target before they can regroup. Military analyst Robert Osprey calls this the shock and awe of Napoleon's time. Attacks designed to disorient the enemy's chain of command. If it's necessary, push your troops to march 20 to 30 miles a day to achieve rapid strikes. Why? Because timing is everything. If you move slowly, the enemy can recover. But if you act swiftly, you could break their morale before the larger force even knows what's happening. So essentially, once you have your plan, once you've identified that the enemy, the weak link, you want to strike hard and fast, and this will create confusion in the enemy and pretty much disorient them. Their chain of command won't be able to relay information properly, and so you have to strike hard and fast. But how do you strike hard and fast? That brings me to my third step, which would be target key points, disrupt their nerve centers. Just like a jaguar would go for the throat, in battle, we want to go for the throat as well. So do not aim to just win. Aim to paralyze your enemy. That means hitting them where it hurts, command centers, supply hubs, or weak flanks. One of Napoleon's geniuses was not just knowing how to fight, but where to fight. Roberts, page 239. He sought out the weak links and broke them quickly, turning panic into collapse. His army was trained not just to attack, but to exploit confusion, to push deeper while the enemy was still reeling. So essentially, you've divided your enemy, identified the weak link, and you've struck fast and hard to create confusion and chaos. And now, once you've struck, you need to go for their nerves, their throat. So key points. And that is the third and final step in our strategy in defeating a larger force. So in conclusion, what can we learn from Napoleon's tactics today? Whether you're competing for a contract, managing a crisis, or launching a startup against an established giant, the rules are the same. Divide and conquer. So don't take everything on at once. Strike hard and fast before your opponent can react. Target their weakness, not their strengths. The next time you feel outnumbered, don't retreat. Think like Napoleon. Find the weak arm and cut it off. Thank you guys, that's my speech, and now I will be getting into the works cited. Chandler David, The Campaigns of Napoleon, New York, Macmillan, 1966. Asbury Roberts, The Rise and Fall of Napoleon Bonaparte, New York, Basic Books, 2000. Roberts Andrew, Napoleon, A Life, New York, Viking, 2014. In class, look forward to your responses.